Hey, this is Tracy Alston with Mental Fitness Matters. This show is designed to provide people with tips, strategies, and solutions to improve your mental fitness. This is Mental Fitness Matters. Hey, happy Thursday, everybody. You are listening to Mental Fitness Matters. I am your host, Tracy Alston, and this is WSIC Radio. Happy Thursday. I hope everyone out there is having a great week. I am super excited about today's show as I have one of my amazing staff members on with me today, Kathy Hodge, whom I will introduce here momentarily. But first, if you guys are first-time listeners, welcome to the show. This show is designed to provide you with education, tips, strategies, and solutions to improve your mental health and mental fitness. If you are a podcast listener, make sure you go and download the Mental Fitness Matters podcast, subscribe. You can get updates there. And also, if you are tuning in and you have a topic that you would like for me to cover, go to tracyalston.com, submit the topic. That way I can kind of take a look at those topic requests, bring you on the show. We can have a discussion about that topic. So feel free to check out tracyalston.com so that you can get updates and never miss the show. All right. Expectations. Do you guys ever feel like whether we put expectations on ourselves or that we perceive others put expectations on us, do you guys ever feel like there are just so many expectations out there for us to meet? Unmet expectations can lead to feelings of failure, relational challenges, emotional distress, anger, frustration, resentment, and so much more. So on today's show, we're going to talk about how to let yourself off the hook and free yourself from expectations. First off, I just want to say I have an amazing team. So I want to give a shout out to Susan, Connie, Rebecca, my school-based staff, and I am joined today by one of my amazing staff, Kathy Hodge. Welcome to the show. So nice to have you today. Kathy is a neurofeedback technician. She's also a mental performance coach. She's just so key and so intuitive. So she asks a lot of great questions. She's been such a great help to not only to our clients, but to us as a team as well. So I'm just so honored to have you and so glad that you're on the show today. Welcome to the show, Kathy.
Oh, howdy, Tracy. Thank you very much. What a nice word for this morning for my soul.
Absolutely.
I love this topic about expectations. It is so important, and expectations, they're like that sneaky friend in your group of friends who kind of can throw you off track a little bit here and there. And so it's really a neat topic to be able to discuss how do we come to these expectations? What does it feel like? And how do expectations happen in our life?
Absolutely. And we were kind of just chatting last week, you, myself, and Connie was in the office and talking about some of the key concerns and things going on right now. And you brought that up. There's a lot of expectations, knowingly or not, that we have and that people have that can cause a lot of stress, right? So let's talk about that. What would we say some examples of expectations that people could be having right now?
Well, I think we all collectively experienced a big expectation when COVID is still around, when we're still entering into another round of more cautious and bigger shutdowns and that type of thing. And I think we all had this expectation, even though they told us, hey, it's going to last through next winter. I think we all kind of thought, no, we're gonna wear our mask. We're gonna take care of it and get rid of it. And so I think everybody experienced that sense of disappointment and that kind of fatigue that we had over what's going on, and we couldn't really place it. And what it was an unmet expectation. Yeah. So I think that's one for sure that we've experienced recently.
Absolutely, and that's having impact on the community. It's having impacts on families. A lot of times right now, people seem to still be traveling, but some people may not be going to family members' homes or houses or gathering together because of fear of if they have an elderly loved one. There might be an expectation that your grandparents may have that you're coming to see them this holiday season, and the family's not going to actually get there. So there's going to be some sadness around that. Some change is going to have to happen.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Unmet expectations can cause us to feel all types of emotions. This year has been a year of that. We've had a lot of things that we were expecting to happen, whether you're a student supposed to graduate and hang out with all your friends and go off to college or get married, or people didn't expect to lose somebody this year due to COVID, So there's a lot of things that have happened outside of what we were thinking that's here now.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Where do we think expectations come from? I was looking at some of the research, and it was really neat to see when we think about expectations and when we think about where they come from, some of that was showing that they come from two places: communication and experience. An expectation comes from communication. These are messages that we see, hear, or read about. For example, if you're going out to a new restaurant, you would likely be influenced by the reviews or if a family member told you about that. So communication is a way that our expectations are created. An experience is another way. An experience, once we've ate at that restaurant, our expectations will be based almost solely on that experience that we had the first time. So when we think about how powerful experiences are, and now how it overwhelms the original expectation that we formed.
Absolutely. And I'll share with you guys one way that an expectation came up in my life and I caught it and I realized, oh my gosh, this is what's going on. 5 years ago, I was blessed with a grandson, our very first grandchild. And when I was going to see my daughter, Nicole, and the whole 9 months prior to her giving birth, I had built up this story in my mind about how we were going to connect because we were both moms now. And I had this picture in my mind of this heritage where moms pass down information to moms, right? And then all of a sudden I'm sitting there, she's got the new baby and she had a question and she picks up her phone and she asks Google, not me. And I felt this sense of, and it was an expectation that I had. But what was so cool about it was once I realized, Kathy, you had an expectation that your daughter was going to ask you all these questions and you were going to bond in this way. Once I realized that was my expectation, and I realized that because that little sense of or disappointment, what happened was I was able to let that expectation go and I was able to enjoy the relationship that was really being built between she and I, which is total admiration over Liam, my grandson. So we bonded that way instead. So there is a way to get to a deeper relationship when you recognize that you have an expectation or that possibly somebody else has an expectation of you.
I love that. And you just hit on the very first way to let yourself off the hook, because that could have been an easy situation where, like you said, you felt a little bit of that disappointment, but that could have caused a relational, not a big one,
but it could have.
Yeah. Because like you said, you were ready to go. It's ready to be there and provide that. And then she's like, Google, Siri.
She had friends she could text right away. Yeah.
Yes. So guys, with that, one way to let yourself off the hook, Kathy just hit, is just starting with that R, is to recognize. Let yourself off the hook by recognizing that you have an unmet expectation. So emotions like disappointment, anger, sadness, guilt, shame, frustration, they're all kind of red lights on that dashboard of your car telling you to check for that unmet expectation. So when you felt that kind of disappointment, you were able to kind of say there, what do I need to have happen to make me feel happy? So what did you need in that moment to kind of make you feel like, okay, that's okay?
Yeah. In that moment, what I needed to do was I needed to first recognize that I had this emotion. Yes. And it wasn't going to take me out. It's just an emotion. It was feelings. I was willing to feel it and go, God, why am I feeling disappointment? And to question, why do I feel disappointment? And the next question is, well, what would change that for me? What would make me happy today? And as soon as I realized, I'm wanting to mentor her, or I'm wanting to give her advice, and that was my expectation, I was able to go, okay, that's what that is. That's how you actually exchange what you're feeling, those emotions you're feeling, for what's really happening to you in the present moment. What's really going on in the present moment? We were bonding. We were just bonding in a different way.
Right.
Yeah.
So recognizing that was powerful.
Yeah. Just that ability to sense something's going on, and that next question is, what has to happen for me to feel happy?
Yeah.
And that's directly going to lead you to what you feel like you're missing out on.
Absolutely.
And the important thing was my daughter Nicole had enough on her hands. She had just had a baby. She didn't need to be meeting any expectations for me.
Right.
Right? So taking responsibility for what am I expecting right now?
Yes, and I think that's a huge one because whether it's parents expecting their kids to go to college because they went to college, or kids putting that pressure on themselves that they need to be at this level because that's what the person did before them. There's so many things out there that can cause that same type of conflict, but being able to ask, what is it that I need right now of myself to make me happy? Right?
Absolutely.
And 9 times out of 10, it's not for them to change, but it's for us to make an adjustment.
Yes.
And
it's such a great opportunity to take that relationship to a deeper level, because now we're both being honest, or, I'm being honest about what I'm feeling and doing. And it's so important. I was thinking, gosh, this year there's been so many people that have had to take pay cuts or lost jobs. And so here we're coming up where everybody's used to being able to buy for Christmas and do things for Christmas. And it's natural to have that expectation on Christmas Day. When you show up, you're going to feel that disappointment if you're not bringing the gift that you feel like you should be able to bring, right? And realizing that's just an expectation, and it's okay. You might not feel great about it, but what you're doing is you're showing up for that other person, and you're being honest about, this is my situation right now. And you give that other person an opportunity to love who you really are and to love you well back.
I love that. And I think it's important for you guys to know, too, the definition of an expectation. There are what we want. Expectations are what we want, what we desire to have happen, okay? They are a strong belief that something will or be the case in the future. So they are very powerful. Yes. And as we're talking about things kind of coming up or not being met, that has a big impact. Kathy, let's talk a little bit. I think the truth is that whether we mean to or not, we are placing expectations on ourselves or on others, right? We're doing that every single day. And there was a quote by Bruce Lee. I would love to get your thoughts about this quote, because I have some thoughts of my own. But it says, I'm not in this world to live up to your expectations, and you're not in this world to live up to mine.
I love that.
That's powerful.
How freeing is that?
Yes.
How freeing is that? I get to just be myself, not put a mask on, show up. And I also get to go, you're free to be yourself, too.
Yeah.
I love that, because that's a deep relationship.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it gives, like you just said, that power back to where it belongs.
Yeah.
Because so often we are training each other, whether we know it or not, to meet these expectations of ourselves or of the world. And we're looking at people, but being able to be free in that.
Yes.
That's not our job. Right?
Absolutely.
So how can we tell the difference between the expectation of others and yourself? The ones that you took on versus the ones that others put on you?
This is the way that I can tell personally. When somebody else is really disappointed in me, their disappointment is a sign that they have an expectation.
Absolutely.
Now, we're not talking about when I do something deliberately careless, or, I just am thoughtless about the way I've interacted with somebody. We all have a right to be able to be protected and to, feel loved. That's a good expectation. But when somebody else is disappointed in me, I can always look for, what were they expecting? And I can always say, gosh, is this what you were expecting? I'm so sorry. I'm disappointed too.
Yeah.
You can't fix that for them. That's their job, to grow and become more free. An expectation in me feels like shame. It feels like anger. It feels like a false sense of guilt around something that I really couldn't fix. Those are the things that kind of cue me that I have an expectation. But when somebody else is coming at me and their emotions are coming at me and they're saying, but you didn't. I know. Oh, there's an expectation in there. What is it?
What is it? I love that. And you're going to point number 2 and number 3 in terms of how do we let ourselves off the hook. So the very first one was just to recognize, number 1, that you have an unmet expectation. And you just hit on being able to acknowledge that right now you're doing the best you can. And, unmet expectations are a part of the human experience. And everyone experiences unmet expectations. You're normal. And
isn't that comforting?
Yeah.
It's yourself, so comforting.
Yes.
This happens to everybody.
This happens to everybody. I'm feeling something. What is that I'm feeling? Acknowledge what it is for yourself so that you know how to make decisions after that. And then that third one is C, is have some compassion. I love that you just said, just acknowledge unmet expectations of others with kindness. I know things are different and you're disappointed. So am I.
Yeah.
Because you're right. That expectation that somebody else might have had on you, that wasn't yours, right?
Yeah.
But acknowledging that, being compassionate about that they were something for them that wasn't met.
Yeah.
And what it feels like for me is this. Let's be able to kind of have a conversation about that.
Yeah.
So there is a such thing as healthy versus unhealthy expectations. Mm-hmm. And I think you were just kind of hitting on that point that we're not saying to lower your expectations by any means. Example here, telling a friend about a tough situation at home and expecting you'll get words of wisdom is great. Even hoping for the outcome you desire. Let's say if you have a girl or guy that you're trying to get their attention, you want them to notice you. That feels fun and rewarding. So hoping for that outcome you desire is one thing, but trying to force it and being overwhelmed with negative thoughts and feelings when it doesn't work is another. You simply can't control the way people feel, think, or act. And when you base your feelings of happiness, worth, and confidence on actions or reactions of other people, you're setting yourself up for many moments of pain. Okay? So we have to be mindful of that. It's good to kind of be hopeful for these things, but we have to allow room for change, growth, and evolution.
Absolutely, absolutely. And nobody likes to experience pain. But if you will let pain be your teacher and say, oh, something's going on here. What's going on? You know, absolutely. You're so right.
And I think the fourth one we can talk about. So right now, how do we let ourselves off the hook, guys? We've created a little acronym here. It's called RACE. What we are learning about life is that it's a marathon, not a sprint. Right? Life is a marathon, not a sprint. Give yourself permission to finish the race. So when you're trying to let yourself off the hook, Kathy, you just kind of went through some great points here. We're going to use this acronym RACE. R is for recognize. Recognize that you have an unmet expectation. And then begin to ask yourself, what do I need to happen for me today to feel happy? Okay, that's your R. A is acknowledge. Acknowledge that you are doing the best that you can. Unmet expectations are a part of being human. It's normal. Allow yourself to make that connection. The third one is C, compassion. Acknowledge unmet expectations of others with kindness. I know things are different and you're disappointed, so am I. I know we can't come up to see you guys this year in New York. We would love to do that. We're disappointed as well. We'll do it via FaceTime. Yeah. You know, be compassionate about where people are in their feelings and emotions. And that fourth one is experience. Let's talk about this. That E is experience. Be willing to experience unpleasant emotions. Don't set a goal or trying to fix others' emotions. In rare cases, not meeting someone else's expectation may result in the relationship changing.
That's hard, isn't it?
That's hard.
Yeah, it takes a lot of bravery.
Yeah, because I think we just had that question being asked, knowing the difference between an expectation from you versus somebody else, that experience can be huge. You know?
Yeah, it can definitely change the relationship. And so are you willing to trust that if the relationship changes because you couldn't meet an expectation for somebody, if that relationship changes, are you willing to trust that things will eventually be okay, even if it gets really messy? And even in the case where somebody says, I'm not ever going to talk to you again, you know, then you go, you know what, that probably wasn't a relationship. That person was really kind of looking for what I could do for them. They weren't looking for me, because me is the person who can't meet this expectation right now. And this is where I'm at. And that's hard, and it takes a lot of bravery. But you kind of, when those hard emotions come up about, I'm going to lose a friend, I'm not going to, you know, I'm going to disappoint grandma, I'm going to, you know, when those come up, kind of offer those. They're like a sacrifice to a better relationship. So, and sacrifices aren't necessarily don't feel good, but, you know, it is. It's kind of a way of going, I'm willing to walk through these hard things and not try to fix what's going on here, but let us get to a deeper, more rich relationship.
And as we think about experience and expectations happening through communication and our experience as something or someone or a situation, do we feel like, I got a question here, do we feel like experience trumps expectation? And so as I'm hearing that, I'm thinking what I'm taking away from that, does experience trump expectations? So are we saying when we're having something communicated to us, meaning we're going to go to this restaurant and it's going to be amazing food because they've now shown us the pictures and all the reviews are 5-star, it's going to be awesome. Yeah. And then we go into the restaurant and we eat and it's like, this is not what the picture looked like. This is not what the review said. And so does that experience of that situation trump? Is that what the question was for you? I want you to go ahead and answer that, Nakia. I like that question.
I like it, yeah.
Come on the mic for us.
Good.
That's good. I want to make sure I'm understanding that correctly.
I like the way you took it, but I guess I was meaning whenever you have an expectation, yes, but when you go through that experience, does your expectation lowers, or will you have expectations towards that situation anymore? Or how would your expectations line up since you've been through that experience? Or on the flip side of that, if you don't have any expectations and you just go through the experience, does that trump all your expectations?
I like that.
Yeah,
so,
that's a good question.
Very good question. I definitely don't think you need to lower your expectations because I think we have to, as we begin to know ourselves, and that is a process as well. So going through this RACE acronym, acknowledging, recognizing for yourself, acknowledging what you need, being compassionate with yourself and others, that's going to help you identify what is it that I need. So that very first part of that is asking that question, what do I need right now to make me happy? And the other person may be putting out the best that they can, and that's okay. That's where the compassion comes in. So it's not necessarily that your experience is going to trump your expectation. It's more so acknowledging that your expectations can evolve and change. What I needed last week from a friend may be totally different than what I need this week from a friend. I might be stressed out. If you get on the phone and you're used to talking to somebody and they're bubbly and energetic and they're having that high energy and personality, and every single day you're on the phone with them, that's what they give you. Then the next day you call them and they have a different energy or tone, and you may take that personal, like, whoa, what's wrong with you? What's going on? And that individual may have just been dead tired. Nothing personal at all. So we don't need to lower the expectation of any of us, but giving ourselves permission to be human. That who I am and what I present today or the things that I need today may look completely different tomorrow. And it's not the job of anybody to solve that but me.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a great question.
Yeah.
I hope that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I heard in that question is, when I have a bad expectation, can I always expect it to be like that? And really, you want to be hopeful, but you also want to yield into what's happening. So, yeah, you want to be hopeful the relationship's gonna evolve, but you're going to yield into the truth of what's happening in that relationship between the two of you.
That's good stuff. So, Kathy, how do we send our listeners off this week with expectations of the holidays that are coming up that may look completely different for everybody out there? Do we want to give them any more advice? Anything else you want to share or say before we end today, guys? That RACE acronym, make sure you remember that. Write that down. That R is recognize. Right. That A is acknowledge. That C is for compassion. Be kind to yourself and others. It's okay to be where you are. That E is experience. Be willing to experience unpleasant emotions. Allow yourself to feel. We are human. Remember, life is a marathon, not a sprint. Give yourself permission to finish the race. Let yourself off the hook and free yourself of expectations of others and yourself. You're going to be much more happier.
Amen. Just let yourself off the hook, guys. Just get through it. We're all going through this, so you're okay.
We're in this together. I want my Mental Fitness Matters community to shine bright like the stars that you are. Kathy, I just love and adore you. Can't thank you enough for all that you do for so many people that you come in contact with. You are such a beautiful light. So glad to have you this morning.
Right back at you, Tracy. I feel the exact same way about you.
Awesome. Nakia, I love you as usual. I love when you come on. You ask the best questions. Mental Fitness Matters community, go out, shine bright like the stars that you are. Be kind to people. Kindness matters. Give off the love that you want to receive. Can't wait to see you guys next week. Have a great week.